Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee. So, man, it's chilly out here. I got my thermals on today. It's a little chilly out here on the porch, but this is absolutely my favorite time of year. And unless it is freezing cold, I'm gonna bundle up, and this is where I'm gonna be. So, Illinois Deputy Sean Grayson, former Illinois Deputy Sean Grayson, was convicted of murder yesterday for the death of Sonya Massey. I'm gonna play the video and then we're gonna dive into this a little bit. This is an absolute tragedy. It was an absolute preventable death, and that's what we have to dive into more than anything. You cannot bring back Sonya Massey, but we can prevent things like this from happening. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do we prevent things like this from ever happening again?
Year-old mother of two, Sonya Massey, in July of 2024. Massey was handling a pot of water in her kitchen. Grayson told the jury, "She put on oven mittens, which made me believe she knew the pot was very hot."
Wait for your hot steaming water.
Grayson said he took that exchange as a threat, adding, "It raises a lot of concern for me, and I believe she's going to throw the water. The only thing I had to stop the threat was my duty weapon." Grayson explained he thought a taser would be ineffective. She was wearing layers, and both prongs have to stick in for the taser to work.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you. You better not. I swear to God, I'll shoot you in your face.
In the body cam video, Massey, who initiated the police call because of a suspected prowler, can be heard saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Grayson acknowledged that he did not put in the police report that he told Massey he would shoot her in the face. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
This really boils down to a question of credibility. And Grayson is trying to prove to the jury that he acted in a way that was reasonable, that he imminently feared.
So I think in this case, the jury got it right. Now, he was originally charged with first-degree murder, and they convicted him of second. Carries a maximum, from what I understand, of 20 years in prison. I really have no opinion on what he should get. That's up to the jury to decide. But he was, in my opinion, he was rightfully convicted. There was no reasonable person, in my opinion, would have used deadly force. Now, look, I dabble in politics and I educate myself on stuff, but that's not, I'm not an expert in that. This is something that I can be considered an expert in. I know use of force. I've taught use of force. I've taught defensive tactics. I have taught all that stuff for years, studied it, investigated it. There were other options. There was no reason for him to use deadly force. Even if you can argue, in my opinion, even if you can argue that boiling water is could lead to severe injury or death, there were options. He could have sought cover. It's not like a gun or a knife. A gun or knife, it's immediate. And people that say could have done this, could have done that. A gun or knife, within 21 feet, no. Boiling water, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I'll dive into him more. I just looking at his demeanor and looking at then looking at the history, what kind of person that he had proven to be, he's wrong, and he deserves to be convicted. And if he goes to prison, he deserves to go to prison. So even though he was wrong and justice was served, what we have to do now is we have to look at it and say, how did we get here, and how do we prevent this from ever happening again? First off, we got some more people joining. Tyler, always with us. Tyler, good to see you. Welcome everybody. We're going to dive into the Deputy Sean Grayson that was convicted yesterday for killing Sonya Massey. Sean Grayson should have never been a cop. Okay. He had been at 6 different police agencies in 4 years. Let me say that one more again. He had been at 6 different police agencies in 4 years. Now, all those cops out there, y'all know what that means, right? Y'all lived this. That's a big sign. Job jumpers and law enforcement, that means you're not making it. That means that you shouldn't be a cop. I've never seen a job jumper that really should be in this profession. So that's that is absolutely, that's one reason one way it could have been prevented is he shouldn't have been a cop. The sheriff lost his job over this. The sheriff lost his job because he hired Sean Grayson. The sheriff knew him, had a personal relationship, and gave him wanted to help him. You know, I get that, but as a police administrator, I was a police administrator for 20 years. We've got to stop doing this. You aren't doing anyone a favor, especially the person like Sean Grayson. You are not doing them a favor by hiring them. You set them up for failure. You set your department up. You set the other police officers that he's working with up. You set the community up. And you set him up. When a man shows you who he is, believe him. Sean Grayson showed the profession who he was, and we didn't believe him. Yeah, I've been there. I get how that situation, especially in a small town, and he had worked in several small towns, and everybody knows everybody, and people want you to help their kids or help their family and help their friends. I've been there. I've lost friends because I either wouldn't hire them because the warning signs were there that they shouldn't be a cop, or I had to fire them before something like this happened. The warning signs, once they were hired, they got through the hiring process. And then once they were hired, they showed who they were, and they had to be terminated. I've lost friends for that. You know what I've also done? I've also done what this sheriff did. I've also given in to friends and given in to people who either was them or their family. And you know what? Every single time, could thank God for everybody that it wasn't a catastrophe like this. It wasn't disastrous, but it was disastrous in other ways. When a man shows you who they are, believe them. Here's the other issue. Sonya Massey had a history of mental illness. Now, look, I'm not saying that the extent of her, and I don't know the extent of her mental illness. I mean, she was obviously just looking at the video. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That means I want to kill you in the name of Jesus. She had some serious issues going on. Was it to the extent that she should have been committed somewhere and not be in the streets? I don't know. I'm also not saying that a reasonable cop would not have handled this different. I think any reasonable cop, and I was a cop for 30 years, would have handled this differently. But we can't ignore the fact of mental illness is a huge problem in this country. And here's what my main point is. And I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it every time something like this happens. We have to stop giving every societal failure to cops and expect them to solve it. We are expecting 21-year-old policemen with minimum training to solve problems that the smart people can't solve. The people with more degrees than a thermometer, they can't solve it. Mental illness, we can't solve it. You know what? Let's just give it to the cops. Oh, homelessness, us smart people, we can't solve it. Let's give it to the cops. Drug addicts, we can't figure this drug thing out, how to get people off drugs. Let's just let the cops deal with it. With limited training, no resources. If he wouldn't have killed Sonya Massey, what would he have done with her? What resources were out there for him? That's not, this is just a scenario that cops deal with every day. The scenario is they deal with people like Sonya Massey every day. They don't kill them, but what do they do with them? There's no resources to deal with them. But hey, just give it to the cops and let them figure it out. We don't have to. We can sleep at night and let the cops figure it out. We'll just go to bed. We'll let the cops figure it out. And if it ruins somebody's life, fuck it. That's the mentality of all the smart people. That's the mentality. Just let the cops deal with it. And that's why we are in the position that we are in today. Here's another big issue. Sonya Massey's family was represented, got a $10 million payout. And they should have. They should have. Guess who their attorney was? Traveling race baiter, Ben Crump. The traveling race baiter himself. He'll go anywhere if there's some race baiting going on. What did race have to do with this case? Because so if you say that Sean Grayson shot Sonya Massey because she was black, you're fucking insane. You know why? Because what you're saying is that if Sonya Massey was white, he would have done something different. There's no indication of that. That's absolutely insane. Sean Grayson was a bad guy. I know. I had one cop that told me that, man, I'd have done the same thing. I looked at him. I said, no, you wouldn't. If I know you, you've been in situations where you could have justifiably killed somebody and you didn't, because you don't want to take somebody's life. Somebody like Sean Grayson did. Was it because they were black? Because Sean Grayson was a bad guy. White person, the same way would have happened. But here's my point to that. You've got traveling race baiter, Ben Crump. You got influential people, media like Sonny Hostin, who is a complete cop hater maniac. Groups like Black Lives Matter, who y'all, if you watch my show at all, you know how I feel about Black Lives Matter. Because Black lives don't matter to them. Money matters to them. People like Jasmine Crockett, a complete buffoon. As long as we have people like them and others like them, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, villainizing police and scrutinizing when they're right. Sean Grayson was wrong. And look what happened. Policeman was wrong. The policeman was dealt with. That is small percentage. Most of the time, the policeman is fucking right. And everyone knows it. But because of groups like Black Lives Matter and people like I mentioned, when you villainize the police, who wants to do this job? You understand the recruiting crisis of police in this nation? Why do we have a recruiting crisis? Because of this. Because of people like them. And when you do that, you know what you're stuck with? You know what this nation is stuck with as policemen now? Because of groups like Black Lives Matter and people like Ben Crump, people like Al Sharpton. You know who we are stuck with as policemen, who only we can get to be policemen? Sean Grayson. That's what has created this problem. That's my thoughts on this case. So let's go to Mama Luke of the day. Like I said yesterday, a Mama Luke is an Italian-American slang for buffoon. So let's look at who is the biggest buffoon in America today. So the biggest buffoon in America today is a group, Democrat governors. Democrat governors are not stepping up. They're always the ones that with their hands out, and we need the socialism, and we need just to give everybody everything, and nobody work for stuff. But now the federal government's in a shutdown, and the only governors who are stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to cover, our state's going to cover SNAP for our residents is Republican governors. My governor in the state of Louisiana is, and you see in this video, let's just watch the video.
A more potent display of the difference between Republicans and Democrats than what you're about to see.
Military to not pay TSA, to not pay air traffic controllers, and to interrupt SNAP benefits for Virginians most in need.
Glenn Youngkin, Republican governor of Virginia. Watch this. Pay attention to this.
He says the state will pick up the bill for meal assistance.
The state of Virginia is going to step in and cover the benefits for
Why?
a while. We have the financial resources to do it for a while, not forever.
Meanwhile,
Wow, they have the financial resources to do it. You know why? Because they have all of our revenue. We have sent all of our revenue to Virginia. Their coffers are full with our revenue. Now, compare what Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin is doing. He's going to make sure that those people have SNAP, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that. Compare that to Governor Moore. This is Governor Moore, Democrat governor of Maryland, how he's approaching this.
Hasn't guaranteed states will be reimbursed for covering federal expenses like food benefits, which has been the case during previous shutdowns. The governor says, quote, we will continue to do everything in our power to ensure the federal government follows the law and provides funding for the critical services that our families, our children, and our veterans rely on.
Now, this is interesting, and I've been telling you this for the longest time. Democrats are not your friends. For those people, oh, the Democrats are helping us. I have been telling you, if you listen to my program, I've been telling you over and over and over again, when people are like, oh, we're going to provide expanded SNAP benefits, and we're going to.
He is 1,000% right. Democrats do not care about you. Democrat governors who are always jumping up and down. What about that big fat 24 sandwich eating slob, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois? Haven't seen him say anything about his state's going to cover everything because he broke his state. He has broken his state. Conservative states have the money, and they're going to step up when they're needed. And right now, they're very much needed. So, Democrat governors, congratulations. You are Mama Luke of the day. Until tomorrow, same time, same channel. Remember, the world doesn't give a fuck. Nobody's coming to save you. McGee is out.